Welcome everybody, and thanks for watching this. If you are already connected and following our first live streaming pitch day here at M Accelerator. So I'm Alessandro Marianantoni, founder director of M Accelerator, and I welcome everybody in our investor panel and everybody of the startups connected in our call, including our lead coach, Scott Hindle. Let me say just a few words to say that this is definitely a very unique situation. Our first live stream for our pitch day, and despite all the recent developments, we managed in just a few days. I was telling our host in the call what happened at M Accelerator 2 weeks ago. Essentially, as you know, guys, or if you don't know, I'm telling you now that most of our participants are always internationals, and we always have a big group from Italy. Essentially within the 24 hours, they needed to decide to go back home for the reasons that we all know. So in a few days with Scott Hindle, we managed to go online and continue providing support to our startups and to our community. So it's always this is our 11th cohort, very unique, definitely the most memorable, and each cohort is very different. We make our cohort with the participants. So we believe in our founder, especially in the ones that are coming here to learn more. We work with different kind of participants. We have students that are bringing their own ideas, founders of startups at different stages. We have early stage, later stage, and through recent partnerships with Dragon Capital, we also started working with mid-sized companies as well. For me, it's personally, it's always motivating to work with participants that are bringing their passion, their energy, and they are pretty much from all around the world. We had participants from Italy, from China, Africa, Japan, South America, and of course from Los Angeles. But I will keep it short. I mean, I just would like to introduce our lead coach, Scott Hindle. Scott, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, we've worked with these guys for the normal 12 weeks. The last 2 were pretty interesting. The whole essence of the program is just to help bring focus and divergence to the idea and help them articulate that. And we were not expecting that last 2 weeks to be done synchronous and asynchronous, but everybody stepped up, and it was you know, I'd say a silver lining to this whole crazy experience is that you know, people that are motivated around a startup can develop it. We got a lot of iterations in 2 weeks when we were wondering if we're going to be able to do that like we do live. It was pretty amazing.
Thank you, Scott. And now I would like to introduce our investor board. We invited friends, investors, experts in this call, and I'd like to introduce Erik Anderson, partner at Tera VC. Erik, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, hi. Thank you, Alessandro, and nice job pulling this off on such short notice. My name's Erik. I'm based in Los Angeles, but I spend a lot of time in Europe. We have an early stage fund in Estonia, and I'm also part of another early stage fund in Bulgaria, but our investment region is the Nordics and the Baltics, as well as the Balkans. And I act as the US office for the 2 funds, and I work with a lot of the international startups who want to make LA their home base.
Thank you, Erik, and our David Jesus is a partner at Venture University Fund. David, would you like to say a few words? Erik, maybe to unmute.
I think he's on mute.
I'm muted. Happy to be here. Thank you, Alessandro. I think I've been a big fan of M Accelerator for a long time. Well, for 6 months. And, the fund that I represent is called VU Venture Partners. It's a program, actually. It's an accelerator for VCs. And as part of the fund, it being a $100 million fund, we're excited to see startups in consumer, fintech, enterprise. Happy to support international companies as well. And we primarily co-invest and kind of with this background, happy to be a part of this accelerator.
Thank you, David. And by the way, great studio. We have
I think everyone should use a virtual background.
And we have Alexis Poiret, CEO at Make It Studio.
Hey, yeah, very, very nice being here. It's different than usual, but it's exciting. I mean, I'm excited. And also to hear all the different pitches. I'm originally from Belgium, also from Europe, where I created 6 years ago a Venture Studio. So Venture Studio is an investment firm where we invest idea stage, pre-product, pre-revenue. So we like being very early and help the entrepreneur, being part of their operational team, get their traction, help them, achieve all these different important milestones. I moved in LA, Los Angeles, about a year ago, trying to replicate the model, the Venture Studio model here. And, I'm always very eager to learn about new entrepreneurs, things that are happening. And suddenly here, since Aleksandra, you work with international companies. I mean, I've done this myself, coming here like a year ago. So it's very exciting for me to see their progress and how they tackle that.
Sounds great, Alexis. Thank you. And I think we are ready to start with our pitches. So it's not a surprise. We asked our startups to record their pitches just because too many layers of complexity, or I wanted to avoid the issues with internet bandwidth limitation that recently we were struggling with connections from Italy and Europe. So let me start sharing some more material, and we're starting with a first pitch, garbage ball, and we are listening to Claudio.
Hello everybody, and thanks for coming. These are really hard times. We are in a pandemic disaster because our healthcare is collapsing and hospitals are continuously running fundraising campaigns. I've worked on these kind of campaigns and I know that each one costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. The same thing happens for the companies and non-profit organizations that are trying to save the world. Non-profit organization, otherwise called NPO, spends tons of money every year for marketing campaigns. This system works, but only for those ones who are capable of investing large budgets. And all the others are tightening the belt. Today, only a few people are really engaging with those NPOs topics, such as the plastic pollution problem. And on the other side, NPOs are not equipped with tools that will help effectively with running voluntary initiatives for fundraising. Moreover, the practical art of the donation process is boring and not engaging. Because of that, even if someone really wants to donate a small amount, at the moment of the donation, they rather prefer to do something more stimulant. More times, the process is too abstract and people want to see immediate effect to their action and want to know how much they are really helping the world. But there's something we can do. Through a gamification approach, we offer an engaging tool to those who want to be a part of the climate change, having fun and saving time and money, zeroing the distance between people and MPO. On the other hand, we provide to our MPO a retargeting service. Garbageable is a fun and rewarding mobile game. Players collect all the garbage floating in the solar system, avoiding asteroids and planets, and finally they dump and burn the garbage on the sun. Thanks to this game, our users are all transformed in donors, and their time spent on our game is immediately converted in revenue for the MPOs, so that our user can directly help the planet. Today, the MPO's average conversion rate for donation is 12%, but our goal is to raise it to an 18-20%. Because of our experience in the field and our partners, we can implement a retargeting tool connected to the MPO's communities that will help them reaching new potential customer. Our revenue model is shaped for the Italian's market data. We have 4.5 million people playing mobile games, and if we combine them with the ones who are involved in the environmental causes, the one who download the game by year 2, and the regular player, we obtain 96,000 people, and this is our core users. Considering data from web awareness campaigns and conversion rate through donation, we assume our cost per click 30 cents for 0.1 click per day. That translating 1 million per year. In-game purchases is another source of income. For example, players who want to upgrade their game experience with new cosmetics or exclusive map and levels, and we also have merchandising in our store. And to not waste opportunities, players can send donation directly to the MPOs or to our project. We split our revenue 50% for the MPOs and keep the other 50% to cover our operation costs. The team. Ivan is our lead software developer with 3 years of experience in Unity, our game platform. Dario is the art designer and he has 5 years of experience as illustrator. Federica is our marketing lead. She brings the experience from the large MPO Belgian Homeless Cup and from Banfi, the well-known winery in Tuscany. And me, Claudio, I am the CEO, and I manage customer relations. I work for Big Data, the biggest data holding in Italy, who offer digital services for MPOs such as Amnesty International, UNICEF, and Save the Children. Ivan, Dario, and myself are the co-founders of Garbageable, and we develop it in the public incubator Lazio Innova. And after that, I joined M Accelerator to refine and launch the project. In conclusion, we are looking for an investment of $25,000 that will allow us to hire 2 new developers and to cover our costs for the next 4 months. That is enough time to complete the game and the web feature and incorporate the company. So thank you all for the attention, and if you have any question, I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudio. And now I would like to, Claudio, are you online? Are you connected?
I am.
Perfect. Yeah. Hi, Claudio.
Hello, everybody.
And I would like to involve our investor panel. Let's start with Erik. Any comment, note, or questions for Claudio?
Yeah, hi. That's it's a really noble cause that you're working on. I had some Wi-Fi internet connections, so apologies if you've already answered this. But you mentioned you've built one game. First question, the first part of this question is: do you have any numbers in terms of engagement and retention on the current game that you're building? And then do you have a pipeline for games that you want to develop in the future?
You know, the game is not yet uploaded on the App Store and neither in the iOS because we need because of my project on M Accelerator, we need funds to upload it and to pay those services. But for the first impressions that we had, we participate in our contest in Lazio region that is named Maker Fair, that is a fair of engineers, and the impressions were pretty good because we have a lot of download for one day, 100 download, and you know that was our first trial. So my data are not so so complete.
No, that's fine. And then do you have any pilots? And once again, I apologize if you've already answered this question in the pitch. Do you have any pilot projects lined up with any nonprofits to help grow your business?
Yeah, for now, our first client is Ocean Cleanup, and we aim to. I don't know if you know Ocean Cleanup. Ocean Cleanup is a MPO. Yeah, do you know? This is our first customer because our project is burned for them, and our first CEO thought this game to help especially this kind of MPOs, because the ocean cleaning is the biggest problem for the environment, and we are in a basic version of our project, and so for now we have only this kind of customer. And one of the MPO that I show on these slides is for Ocean, and I aim to contact them to offer my service of the application, and we will see what they can see. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And David, did you have any comments for questions for Claudio?
Hey, Claudio, good to see you again. Maybe one question that you may think about is, who do you compete with? And is are there current games that do this now that have these relationships with nonprofits? And so, who are your competitors? Do you know?
For our market reviews, we don't have a relate competitor, because no one is making games to help the MPOs and to zeroing the distance between peoples and MPO. So for now, we don't have properly a competitor. The only competitor that we have is the gamification societies that makes maybe point contests and very kind of contest that can close in and closer people and MPO, but not especially on the games.
Do you already also have a beta program in place? So when you go to market, so before you go to market, before the game goes to market?
That's work in progress for now.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Claudio. Alexis.
Yes. Hey, thanks so much for the pitch. I always love it when people start by saying they're going to save the world. I think it's a good start.
Thank you.
Trying to bring an impact. So thanks for that. I'm always very curious about the go-to-market, right? I'm an engineer myself. I know that coding, for some people is difficult, but for us engineers, coding part is usually the easy part. So imagine that the game is completely finished, right? Picture that. It's beautiful, it works. What are the first steps that you do to actually go to market and making sure that you have people using it that will bring, the impact that you.
First of all, talking with the most MPO as possible, to show my project, to show what we do and what the application can do. And after that, Garbage Bowl is only our product, because my company is called Rusty Media, and Rusty Media is a software house that makes games like Garbage Bowl. And Garbage Bowl is one product that fits for the MPOs, especially for the MPOs that cleans the ocean from the plastic pollution. And we aim to create some other games for the the animals MPOs, for the lost animals or healthcare, only for gamify those kind of topics and to make it more easy for the people.
Okay.
I don't know
So
if I can if I answered your question.
one of the recommendation that I have when I work with companies in the venture studio, because you also mentioned that you want to raise 25K to finish the development part. What I would recommend is don't wait for your app to be finished to talk to all those NPOs and go to market. You got to have a list of all people that are actually interested, and they should already show you some interest, so that when you're ready to launch, you already have this connection with them, right? And then by that time, you will probably have a better understanding of what kind of money you will need on top of the 25K to go to market. And you should probably include that into a bigger package. That way, for the investor, not only they will know that you will have enough money to finish the app and the game, but also you will know exactly how to go to market, because that's, to me, one of the most important things that you gotta figure out.
Thank you.
Great. Scott Hindle, did you have any questions or comment for Claudio?
Yeah, Claudio, I might suggest you talk a little bit, if you can, about, so you have ocean cleanup, and you also have prior experiences, I know, working with fundraising and those. It's just that you briefly mentioned in the deck that what percentage is converted, and then you also know that they have comprehensive lists, and you already are talking to ocean cleanup, as I understand it, about working that list. Maybe you can speak a little more about that.
Did you ask me if I can speak more about my client, my ocean cleanup, partnership?
Yeah, more specifically is just that they're able to drive through normal digital marketing strategies and other campaigns. They're able to get, what is it, 12% conversion rates to donations?
This is the average for the MPOs in general, especially in Europe, for the Europe data. And this kind of rate is, for the MPOs, it's too low, because Ocean Cleanup is a big MPO. And to be honest, for that kind of user, we are not necessary, because they already big. But for the smaller and the medium one, yeah.
Not already. I mean, when you say that, you mean they have a better conversion rate than the average. However, more than half their list still isn't converted, correct?
Yeah.
Right. And the primary purpose you guys are doing, the reason that you're getting their attention is because they have these lists of people that have interest, but they can't convert.
Yes. Yes, if we can use their CRM to share our project to their customer base, and we can feed them all, and our user became us and the reverse.
Great.
Thank you.
Sounds great. Thank you, Claudio, for all the answers and the clarification. Thank you to the investor panel for the suggestions and questions. I think we can move on to the next startup, and we have Michael Salwet on the call, and with the SpotSnip, I'm going to share our screen and the presentation.
SpotSnip is a way to connect authors and readers together so that authors can gain insights about their content through their readers' reactions. And I'd like to tell you a story about Joe and Natalie. Joe's a type of content creator that many consider to be a maven or an expert in his field by his followers. He uses his design communication arts degree, along with his 8 years of professional experience, to write about his journey within his career on a variety of social media sites, as well as on his own personal blog. After publishing his writing on these platforms, there's almost always a reaction to it. Some of these reactions include comments, likes, and subscribes. Many of those comments tell Joe just how amazing he is. Some tell him about his errors and typos. Some users share on social media. Generally speaking, the feedback is very good. He appreciates these forms of reciprocation. This is enough to keep him writing content, but he doesn't really know what makes his writing special to people. he asks himself, what gives people the aha moment? And therefore, what content is truly valuable to others? He would love to know this so that he can more easily make decisions about what to write for his next topic. Next, we have Natalie. She's a hardworking person employed as a salesperson at a local startup. While researching for a solution on how to handle an angry customer, she scours the internet for a solution, opens up several browser tabs, takes notes, and comes across Joe's writing. His writing gives her some great insights that she's never really thought about before. And with Joe's writing, he has helped her to construct an amazing and successful email to the company's largest client, thus saving the account from cancellation. Within Joe's writing, she obtained that aha moment. It was exactly what she needed to know, and it was a major insight that gave her recognition within the company. She was actually promoted for this. Later, she goes through her notes and the browser bookmark back to his site and leaves a comment on Joe's article about how much it has helped her. In the back of her mind, she wonders, is this enough of a way to give back? In a natural, organic world, if Natalie knew Joe in real life, Natalie could have gone back to him and said, hey, guess what? I saved the account because of your help. I know you like red vines, so I went down the street to the store and bought some for you. In turn, Joe, receiving more than a simple thank you, has now cemented this experience into his mind as a more legitimate form of reciprocation. This and many other cases exist throughout the day as a normal part of conversation. And within this real-world marketplace, while we can easily transact with someone, form a relationship, and have a conversation, there's still no method for doing this online for authors. What type of tools exist to better facilitate this type of reciprocation? How might we start implementing what comes natural in the real world and apply it to social design so that Joe may find meaningful reactions within his work? SpotSnip exists to solve this very problem. Readers spot the content that they like and snip it, while authors uncover insights about snipped content through the micro-content analytics platform. The target customer is the underserved author that needs to know more about what content is being valued by their readers. These authors have readers that consider themselves more academic, and many of these readers like to collect and discuss content, but not necessarily share on social media. With these type of individuals connected, this creates a feedback loop for authors to understand what type of valuable reactions exist through micro-content discussions, comments, and snippets of information so that the authors know exactly what readers think about the content, and thus what they should write about next. I'm comparing many alternatives, including citation software, note-taking software, analytics software, commenting platforms, and more, to find the best pricing strategy. Research currently suggests that 3 main pricing plans are to be expected. 1 is a free trial or a free limited feature set. 2 is a $10 a month starter package for basic analytics and features. Lastly, 3 is a deeper analytics and insights package with AI and user analysis ranging from $60 to $100 a month, depending on customer needs. There's also a 4th opportunity for enterprise-level companies and self-hosted websites that I'm exploring with my team as well. Our initial go-to-market strategy focuses on the reader, since we need data in order to approach the author. Through some go-to hacks that we've identified, we are writing scripts that compile lists of active readers that are known to excerpt and share content. With this, we will be able to cross-index these readers with the most popular content within the groups so that we can acquire a solid sample of readers as the consumers of certain key content. With these readers using our MVP, we will have enough data and insights to offer the authors. This is currently in the requirements phase of development by myself, as well as an R&D team of over 10 individuals, including AI, architecture, graphic design, operations, marketing, and more. As for what's next, SpotSnip has an amazing talent stack set for execution. My team is capable of developing out this project, so I'm looking for guidance and a commitment of $25,000 for user and customer acquisition, so that once this is developed out, we can launch quickly, test, and scale.
Thank you, Michael. And I will give the mic to Erik. Erik, do you have any comment or notes for Michael? Michael, are you online, right?
Yeah. Hey, guys. Good to see you.
Hey, Michael. Yeah, I'd be curious to know more about your go-to-market strategy and specifically if you have any insights into what gives you a unique edge or competitive advantage to kind of seed this marketplace.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of authors that are out there that exist. A lot of these authors, they typically create content not necessarily for the purpose of making money, but for the purpose of actually engaging with their audience. And oftentimes, these individuals, they have they want to write more, but they don't necessarily know what exactly to write about next. And these individuals exist that are out there already using a lot of alternatives. And so the strategy is actually to find these authors through some hacks that I'm working on, using LinkedIn, using Medium.com, and some other sites out there right now.
And to follow up with that, you mentioned some alternatives. Are these competitors, or are these just the typical platforms that people are producing content on?
Okay, so good question. So this isn't meant to actually compete with any competitor that might be out there. It's actually going to be built to work together with them, so that these users who actually create content can now understand their audience throughout these other platforms that actually exist.
Okay.
Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
Maybe you can give an example.
Oh yeah, so like in the story, Joe, he writes content on his own blog as well as on Medium. He uses Quora. You know, he likes to engage people. He likes to write. And hopefully you guys can still hear me because my internet connection's unstable. But so within these platforms, there's no real cohesive way to actually gain analytics insights, because he has an account here, there, and there. So the idea is to start bringing this together, because the users who actually engage with his content on these different platforms may engage with him here and here. And so with him knowing exactly where the engagement is and specifically what micro content is being looked at, he can now start writing more about both what they want and also start focusing on those platforms that actually work best for him.
And I assume it could be some type of like monthly subscription to just pay someone $5 a month, kind of like you know, just to say like, hey, I really like what you're doing. Here's a little contribution to the cause, or what are you thinking? Is it micro? After I read this, I send you 25 cents or $1, or
Well,
like what are you?
Yeah, I mean, I love that idea actually. So those are next steps that I didn't include in the small, time frame that I had. But I would love to actually allow a reader to actually contribute monetarily to the actual author eventually. Right now, it's all about the actual reactions. So it's almost like a reaction network that would exist to actually find out where people are looking at when it comes to the content. And in that, the user who reads the content can now give insights for the author. Eventually, yeah, I'd love to have a traditional and non-traditional payment style platform to actually give back to the author, so that not only do they gain insights about the content, but also monetary compensation.
I am complete. If you want to move on, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Erik. And David, the Jesus, did you have any questions for?
Thanks for sharing, Mike. I guess one of the things that I'm kind of curious about in this case is like you're building a data platform / marketplace. Do you have a clear path to revenue, or a clear path to or a clear revenue model in place yet?
It's in progress, because users or readers are needed first and foremost. That is going to be a service provided to them to gain the actual users, so that there's enough data statistically significant to sell off to the authors. So that will come a little bit later. First user acquisition phase is just simply for the readers. Something I didn't mention, however, is oftentimes the reader and the author can actually be the same person. So if you go on, I mean, not to segue too much, but if you go on medium.com, look at some of the top content providers, creators, a lot of the followers are actually content creators themselves. So it's like a how-to, and then these people go and like get ideas on what content to write about next. So there is a, there's a combination there that I'd like to ideally target. But first of all, users, get enough people on there to start selling off the data.
So are you trying to implement this as kind of like a Chrome plugin, something like that, or is this kind of its own, self-service platform?
Yeah, ideally it would be a Chrome plugin, possibly using React Native as well, but Chrome plugin to start with, and eventually enterprise level solutions for self-hosted websites. There's an opportunity that we're exploring right now with major news publications, so that the JavaScript, let's say, would actually be used on their side only, and they would own their own data.
Cool. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, for sure. And there's a whole lot more we can talk about too, little details.
Yes, exactly. And as we know, all of these very short pitch, it's an opportunities for our founders to engage in meetings and longer conversations with investors and possible partners. We have Alexis. Do you have questions for Mike?
Yeah, I'm very curious about how did you come up with that idea? How did you get started?
So the end game is something to the effect of valuation of information based on an individual's own perceived worth. So if I were to create content, what do you value it as? How do we make that kind of happen? And I broke it down a lot, especially with M Accelerator's help. Scott and Aleksandra have been amazing. And so it came, and I started looking at a lot of trends that are happening online as well. So we're moving in a direction with analytics where it's a lot less inferred analytics. We're actually looking at a lot more self-validated ways of validating information, for example. Another thing is I'm looking at how Safari actually removed cookies, third-party cookies. That's a big step. It looks like Chrome is also going to do that within the next couple of years. And so these trends, these ideas are kind of coming together in this sort of fashion.
So are you a content creator yourself, I'm assuming? Because you came up with that problem, right? So is it the case?
Myself, personally, no, but I do research a lot, and I use really clumsy tools to kind of put this all together. I want to remove those roadblocks to make sure there's a better way to do it. And so, next steps, of course, involve actually interviewing a lot of these types of content creators and make sure that the right thing is built out. The worst thing that I could think of right now is just to actually build out the wrong product for the right people.
And so to make sure that you built, the right products for your future customers and users, do you work with a lot of different content creators, or how do you go about it and make sure that you validate all these assumptions?
I'm sorry, could you repeat it? You actually cut off for a second. I work with
so to make sure that you're building the right product, right, for your future customers and users, how do you work with them? I'm assuming that you work with them. How do you validate all these assumptions of your product?
So in product management, there's a short definition that I love is knowing what to build next. And there's a process involved with that, and it's a matter of just interviewing, making sure that there's a real ask. So there might be customers saying, "Hey, I can't get from point A to B." Well, okay, is that true or not? It has to be kind of logical step-by-step process. And that's really going to be the next discovery phase for me, just to make sure that the right questions are asked and the right decisions are made based on those answers.
Yeah. Cool.
Can I ask one more question, actually, Mike?
For sure.
Just to add to what Alexis was saying, I'm curious how large of a market you're addressing with the solution, because you just mentioned that there's a deduction process, or at least a total value discovery process. Were you able to figure out how large your market is?
It's very large, and I don't want to say that to sound too big, but it's very large. The amount of content creators online is I can't get an accurate number just yet, but if we go on LinkedIn and look at just the amount of authors, for example, it's 2.1 million. If we look at the amount of monthly active users for medium.com, I think it's 400 million, and some other alternatives that are out there. So the general market, the general vertical, I guess, that exists is huge. You know, narrowing it down to the person that is more academic, but that actually is not in academia, because there are tools that exist for academia, for citation software and all this. Of course, they don't have data sharing, but that's another story. Is my target audience. It's that person who wants to comment on blogs and engage with the author more genuinely. And I'm working with Aleksandra to make that to more easily target that, because they're out there, and I'm seeing them. It's just a matter of looking at the data and kind of assessing, you know, how to jump into the waters, you know.
Cool, thank you.
Sounds great. Thanks, Mike. Scott, do you have any comments? Notes?
Yeah, real quick. Maybe Mike can talk about in your work, our work together. Is you came across a tool that actually did offer readers some of these features you're talking about, and authors insights. Maybe you can share a little bit about that.
I'm sorry, Scott. You broke up for a second. As soon as you were talking,
So in our work together, we did come across one tool that does offer readers features such as highlighting and annotations, and then also offers those authors on that content insights. Maybe you wanted to share a little bit about that.
Yeah, there's a couple, right? So, you know, you have Kindle authorship. Somebody who reads the book can actually highlight content and then make a note of it. Authors actually see this information. Similarly, on medium.com, they have their own highlighting type annotation strategy. There's top highlights. There's actually personal notes you can send off to the author and say, like, good job, or this needs editing, or this is incorrect. You can save it to your own clipping. You can save it to your own, you know, personal profile for later usage. So I want to take that a step further, because this is already sort of happening across different sites, and make sure that this is not happening across other sites. And I want to make sure that it actually happens in a more cohesive fashion across the entire internet.
Great, and thanks again, Michael. I think we're ready to jump on the next presentation, and we have Marco Casciani. Marco, are you online? I guess Marco is getting ready. In the meantime, I'm launching his presentation. Marco's project is slightly different. He's done with us business design approach on his design studio in Italy. So let's listen Marco's project.
Hi everyone, this is Marco. I'm a copywriter and a web marketing consultant, and this is my pitch. On the Italian market, there are many small and medium-sized companies that don't know the most effective ways to communicate to their customers on the web. Today, this is a real problem which affects their brand, and therefore it's hard to acquire new customers. They are aware that old ways no longer working. It really is a generational problem. These entrepreneurs web marketing can solve their problems, but they are not leveraging on the social media power yet, as their businesses grew up before the digital marketing era. Small businesses can rely on freelancers or on web agencies that have high prices and carry out their work in a cold and detached way, and cannot really communicate with their customers or understand their main goals, proposing an inadequate marketing strategy. So what's missing is trust. They don't trust in agencies, but they trust in them. Even if they don't have basics of digital marketing, these companies know that these methodologies work today because their competitors gain more clients with a good digital marketing strategy. They don't know the real value and the potential of some strategic actions. And to rely blindly on a web agency or on a freelance represents a risk for them. They are afraid of wasting their time and money. So what I propose is a customized consultative marketing process that drives the customer and makes him the main character of the strategic choices that they will implement. My idea is a 5-step process, which starts with an initial consultation step, where me and my client clarify goals and main objectives, discussing budgets and timeline. Step of research and strategy development. A third step in which I develop and illustrate my work to my client, being him always the other side of the coin. A fourth step of design in which I create and translate all the ideas and suggestions into actionable items, and a last step of development composed by asset building, actuation, and revisions. With this consultative process, the customer will be involved in marketing strategy and in the real functioning of its digital channels. So, what I ask to my customers is, to get your results, are you ready to actively collaborate with me and trust me, being by my side step by step in the strategic process? Thank you for your attention. Bye.
Okay, thank you. Marco, are you online with us? Perfect.
Can you hear me? Okay.
And you're in Rome, right? As well, like Giuseppe, actually. Claudio, I mean, the same. So we have, do we have anybody from the investor panel? Erik, would you like to provide any comments on Marco's presentation?
Yeah, I guess as I have a few friends who've worked with a few agencies on their small local businesses. Do you have any have you run any pilots, or have you worked with many customers, and do you have any insights or results that you can describe or talk about?
You mean an example of customers?
Yeah, have you, as an agency, like, have you worked with anyone with your new 5-step process to show that, you know, it drives results?
Okay, usually I started like as a copywriter. So as a web marketing consultant, I worked for the last 2 years, but I made this kind of process just for 1 or 2 clients, but the work is not so strategic. I can found this way, these 5 steps, with the help of Scott and Aleksandra, and I understand how to divide my work in 5 steps. Basically, to help the customer to feel to edit this kind of work. I can give them the opportunity to say yes or no of each step and change my strategy. So this is, I don't know if I answer your question or.
I guess my question in general is just like, do you have a case study that you can point to say this is how we helped this company?
Oh, case study. I remember. Okay, there was a client. He's an work with in the buildings. I don't know the right term, but they sell houses. So he needs a strategy, an initial strategy to understand how to improve his work. And I start with the first point, and we worked together for a lot of months. And I try to work in this kind of way that I present in my pitch. It's not the same because it was maybe 1 year ago. So I am at the starting point to this kind of work. But I remember this client. Probably the best client that I have in this case.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Erik. David, any comment on Marco for Marco? Any suggestions?
Thank you for sharing, Marco. So it sounds like you're still on the very, very early stages of your agency. To add on to what Erik was saying, and maybe just a suggestion, is you may need to start working for a couple small businesses for free in order to develop this a little bit more, make it a little bit more mature. As an agency owner and as someone myself who's I've built many digital properties for other people, before you can really implement that strategy, I think one big suggestion is you have to get one client to really sign up for the entire process and build that case study a little bit stronger. And so that way you can have a strong reference point or a portfolio that your next clients will be trustworthy of. So yes, you may have to do a few or a couple that are maybe for free or for portfolio's sake. And that's where you can make a lot of the mistakes, and that will help you essentially gain the bigger clients that you might want. Or if it's not, if you're not going for more, because I do remember you said small to medium businesses. If they're not large clients, I'm also curious how you're setting up your revenue model, because if it's just a pay for play, or it's a one-time fee, that mainly works if it's a big client. But if you're looking at small to medium businesses, you may need to find a lot of small to medium businesses in order to fill your bottom line, right?
Yeah, this is one of my question about this kind of work, because I thought about the problem of small businesses, because I had to work a lot. I just have had a lot of clients instead of 1 or 2 or 3 big clients. So okay, thank you for your advice. You understand.
Sounds good. Thank you, David. We have Alexis. Quickly, do you have any comments, note for Marco?
Quickly?
Yeah,
Okay,
we're running out a little bit.
So 2 things. I feel in some way, once you will have many more clients, it would be nice to start seeing if you can automate part of it, right, to reduce costs. That would be pretty cool. And then to David's points, I'm not a big fan of giving free stuff, because free has no value in my point of view. So it might be better than, if you do want to learn the process, to take success fee, because if you do marketing campaigns, it's to help them sell at the end of the day. So it might be great to have a success fee on that. And then something also, so it's not really a question, it's more like since they're going to be fast. Is there something you can do right now? People are now at home, they cannot work. Maybe they have time right now to rethink their business. So maybe now it's a good time, just an assumption, to reach out to those customers, get them to sign or to do some work with them.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Alexis. Thank you, Marco. And I guess I'll see you hopefully this summer in Italy, Rome. We can move. Scott, actually. Scott, would you like to comment or questions for Marco?
Just very briefly, you kind of alluded to it as he presented. So he's not seeking funding. His next steps aren't any more than to just go and acquire clients. And he's already got, as I understand it, some paths for that, some people he can work with. So it just brought more clarity to his business model and the focus going forward.
Exactly,
Okay.
Exactly.
Great.
Thanks, Scott, for clarifying that. And then I think we are moving to our next presentation. And let me share screen. And we have Mudit Khurana with Ruset.
Hi, this is Mudit. I'm the founder at Giuseppe, and we enable video games to make and sell merchandise to their audience. Let me talk to you about Matt, founder at Illusion Labs, who's been making games for almost 5 years now. And he wants to sell merchandise to his audience. It's one of the most lucrative ways in which he can monetize his audience.
A franchise like Cars, which did $1 billion worth of ticket sales over a period of 5 years, did $10 billion of merchandise sales in that same period. Unfortunately, though, the people who can make this happen for Matt have to need a company that's at least the size of a Roblox or an Angry Birds that can do hundreds of million, if not $1 billion worth of sales in the market. Matt may not be that big, but he still has millions of users coming to his apps every month, playing his games. And unfortunately, Matt can't even do this in-house because he has to focus on making more games to retain these users, and his core expertise is in building software. He has no expertise in the multiple moving parts that are there in a merge supply chain. What he needs is a solution that allows him to sell ads, allows him to sell physical goods just the way ads and virtual goods are sold in his games. Well, Giuseppe can do just that. Giuseppe connects print-on-demand factories and 3D printers and other on-demand factories to gaming applications. Giuseppe allows gaming applications to create mock-ups of bags, t-shirts, shoes, and collectibles and publish them in their apps. And when their audience buys it, these items can be fulfilled anywhere in the world by one of Giuseppe's partner factories. The upfront cost of implementing any of this is zero. With 24 hours to 48 hours setup time and a small amount of commission, this can be implemented. On a sale of $20 t-shirt, $5 needs to be paid to Giuseppe, $10 needs to be paid to Giuseppe for the factory, and Matt can easily walk home with $5. He can also pay a subscription fee can also be paid for added features that make the end user's audience's experience much more customized. $7.5 billion worth of digital goods are sold in these medium-sized games. Thousands of mats are out there, and hundreds of millions of gamers are engaged on these games. And yet, nobody sells physical goods as seriously as they can. In our own waitlist of 30 plus clients, there's an opportunity worth $2 billion. And to execute on this, we need a team that has been there and done that. Between all of us, we're passionate about e-commerce, we're passionate about manufacturing, we're passionate about gaming, and we have decades of experience in billion-dollar companies, global giants. We've built startups, we've exited them, and we've scaled categories in companies that are funded by the likes of Alibaba and SoftBank. 6 games are already tied up with us. 3 have signed merchandising contracts, and we haven't paid a dime for these contracts. And 30 plus prominent names are trusting us to be able to execute this for them. And we've accomplished all of this with small amount of funding and a lot of support from some prominent people in the startup business. And that's what we need going forward. $500,000 can not only help us get to $1.5 million of GMV in 12 to 15 months, but it can help us address some core problems with maintaining and building and retaining the team, scaling our software, building processes, and creating a brand that can be trusted today and in the future by our clients. We have a strong community already, and if you want to join us on this journey, please come and talk to us. We'd love to answer any questions you have. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mudit. And you are with us on the call, right?
Yes.
Hi, Mudit. And you're also in Los Angeles, correct?
Yes. Yes. Hi,
Sounds
hi,
good.
Alex.
So I give the mic to Erik. Erik, any questions or notes or comments for Mudit?
Sorry, I was muted. First of all, really cool concept. I think that's a really untouched space. I know I have a friend who's done quite well doing this at music venues for artists, and they've done quite well. It seems like you guys are taking, between the factory and your commission, it seems like you guys are taking a pretty steep cut of any of the profits. What have the potential customers said about this so far?
You mean like, so, I mean, we are splitting the gross profit after the factory cost 50-50 with our gaming clients. But again, this is also variable because if let's say our customer can do a lot of volume sales, then naturally our ability to negotiate that commission goes down. So yeah, so that is variable, and it depends on the volume of our of the people we are working with, the volume they can sell.
Okay, cool. And what's the turnaround time if I ordered a shirt as the user or as like a end user?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So the turnaround time is less than 5 days. The actual product can be made like within 24 to 48 hours. And the shipping time is another day or two. So in less than 5 days, we can get the item to the end customer.
Interesting. And in terms of user experience, are you guys providing like, is it an in-app purchase, or is this like a follow-up through another channel?
Yeah, it's so the items are sold exactly like digital goods are sold inside the game. So it is a complete in-app purchase. We do also offer APIs so that if let's say so if the gaming company wants to sell the products on their website, let's say, so they can use our APIs and do that as well. But primarily, we want to target in-game in-app purchases.
Okay, and then just to be respectful of time, one last question: what's the competitive landscape look like?
Not too many competitors doing exactly what we're doing. Of course, merchandising is an extremely crowded market. Printful is already doing more than $100 million of sales, and I take that as a good sign because we kind of partner with factories like Printful. So if they can manufacture a lot of volume on demand, then we can also sell inside the game on demand much more.
Okay, I'll pass the mic.
Thank you, Erik. Let me call David.
Thank you, Mudit. Very, very interesting proposition. I have a couple of questions about the technology. So your current APIs already established, and can somebody just go download the Rusep SDK and I can put that in my game today?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, so yes, but like right now we are in a closed beta. We haven't actually released it to the public. So if you have a game and you want to work with us, then I'd be happy to send you our SDK documents and send you the package, and you could you could very easily integrate into your game and start selling.
And then who does the design?
Yeah, so most of the design can be done with the software, and that's pretty simple. You upload the assets, and those assets get masked on t-shirts and bags and shoes. But if you need more sort of customized service, then we do charge a fee for that.
Cool. Out of the 500K, how much has been committed?
150.
On what, and what are the terms?
So the terms are basically we're raising it on a safe note of 4 million.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
And Alexis.
Yeah, just a small question. Thanks for the presentation. Except the money that you're asking for, what is your biggest pain today? What's the biggest thing you're kind of nervous about?
What is the biggest thing I'm nervous about after I get the money or before I get the money?
Let's imagine that you do have the money. What's the biggest thing that keeps you up at night?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say retaining the team and building the best team possible and moving fast. Actually, I think like one of the biggest things is that we want to work on the software fast enough so that we can kind of dominate the market as much as possible.
So your bottleneck will be internal operations and tech, not acquiring new customers.
Bottom line will, I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
So the bottleneck will be, operationally to work with your team and building the tech. It might not be to acquire new customers.
Yes, because that is, so the faster we can iterate on the product, the faster we can go and acquire newer customers and offer a much more a service that people can trust much more, right? So I don't personally feel comfortable going out and onboarding 30 clients if the software is not capable of handling, more than 10. So that's the thing. But that said, that doesn't mean we're not talking to customers. I mean, every time the process is always to go talk to customers first, understand, work with them, actually look at what the processes are, see what we can automate, and then build the software. But then we have to build the software as fast as possible so that we can go back into the market and run that loop again.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Alexis. Thank you, Alexis. And Scott.
In that vein, Mudit, maybe part of your value is the giving them access to the network, but the primary side, as I understand it, is the creative and the essentially no upfront costs or no carried costs in the whole process. Maybe you can elaborate just briefly a little more on that.
Yeah, for sure, Scott. So a lot of games are small and they wouldn't want to, they wouldn't have the money to invest in any upfront costs. And for those games, of course, they can start off with a DIY sort of a service where, they just upload their assets and the software can do the job of making the mock-ups for them. And then those mock-ups can be published. But for clients who do need a more customized design service, of course, there will be some upfront costs. They will have to pay for the design. But yeah, it really depends on the size of the gaming company itself, whether they have the capability to pay that upfront cost or not. If you're really small, you can start making money first and then decide whether you want to pay for the service or not.
And making money because you'll have several turnkey options. They can already use their art to.
So to talk about the turnkey option a little more, basically all they do is they upload their characters, logos, and different assets, and then what the software does is it has canvases of bags, shoes, t-shirts, which are plain white canvases, and these logos and characters the software can automatically put these on these different product mock-ups and create just a visual representation of what the product would look like after it's manufactured. And then this visual representation can be published in the application, which then once it's bought, is made on demand after the order is placed by the factories. Does that answer the question?
Perfect. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that was clear. So, great.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Mudit. It's time to move to the next presentation.
Thanks, Alessandro. Thanks, everybody. Thanks.
And we have Tuscia Food with Elisa presenting.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here. In recent years, the concept of travel and tourism is changed a lot. In the past, it was conceived as a break and a way to escape from the daily routine. Currently, we speak more and more often about a new tourism trend called experiential travel, which is synonymous of research, demand for emotion, and involvement. Let me tell a story about John and Emily. They are a middle-aged couple of tourists, and they have already discovered the beauties of Italy 30 years ago during their honeymoon. Now they are planning to come back to Italy a second time for visiting Rome and other characteristic medieval villages around the Eternal City. They already lived an organized trip with a tour operator, and now they are ready to join a different type of experience, more authentic and culturally engaging. John and Emily are curious and sophisticated people, and they want to live this experience through a local lens. But they find only restaurants that always offer standard and Christian menus and local public administration that organize the same variety of tourism events and folkloristic festivals. Thanks to the social media, website, and travel blogs, John and Emily have access to a variety of new experiences that they could join. But the market doesn't offer enough to a modern tourist explorer. John and Emily can't find long-lasting events and regular experiential travels continued over time, but only temporary offers and cooking classes. Tuscia Food is an agency and social events booking platform that offers all year long immersive experiences such as social dinner and from farm to table. All opportunities to get away from the chaos of the big city and relax, learn something new, and, live like a local. In this way, curious tourists like John and Emily can immerse themselves into local culture and habits as a native. They can meet local hosts in a pleasant countryside landscape where they can enjoy real connection with them and their Italian country lifestyle. In few words, with Tuscia Food, travelers discover the secret of a familiar and genuine Italian atmosphere by tasting traditional and typical homemade meals made with local products and feel as a member of the family. This is our potential revenue for the Lazio regional market. We will obtain our main revenue from the sale of experiences. We generate a 10% fee, combining a 5% fee from the host and charging on top of the cost of its experience a 5% fee to the guest. Building up a loyal community is our main bootstrapping strategy. We have identified specific keywords that we will use to create highly optimized content material. We will acquire users with dominating and easily climb the Google ranking for an initial and very specific niche. Through content marketing strategies, Facebook and Instagram pages, we will be a place to go for great content with a wealth of information and inspiration to share. The team is composed of me, graduated in marketing and quality management system. I had the idea to start this business for filling the gap I found in the Tuscia area market concerning authentic and emotional experiential travel. Aleksandra is graduated in journalism and publishing. She has social media marketing and copyright skills, and she is the content marketing specialist. Gabriele worked as manager and social media manager for sporting events, so he is the social media specialist. In conclusion, Tuscia Food is at the moment only a project in development, and to move forward, we are looking to be accepted into a spot in a startup incubator in our region, Lazio. We are early in the process and we don't operate on a set schedule yet. So with the incubator, we will work on validating the concept with an MVP and driving guests and hosts to book through our content marketing strategy.
Okay, thank you, Elisa, for the recording. Elisa, are you on the call, right?
I'm here.
Hi, Elisa. Elisa is in Rome as well with the other group of Italians. And I'm gonna call Erik. Erik, do you have any questions or comments for Elisa?
Yeah, hi. Very nice presentation. Thank you. Quick question, and it's a little bit loaded, but how does your MVP or concept change in the midst of a global pandemic?
Oh yeah, it's a big deal, I think, for the moment. But we are excited about the business, and we hope in the future we can go on with our idea. And you know, for the moment it's a little bit locked, but we are strong, and maybe we can do it in the future. Yeah.
Right. Have you thought about any ancillary or complementary revenue models to the core business?
Sorry, my internet connection is pretty bad. I didn't understand. Could you repeat, please?
Yes. Have you thought about any ancillary or complementary business models that you might want to consider?
Oh, I can hear. I can hear.
Okay, I will send something over in the chat.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Sorry.
Can you hear us, Lisa?
I don't know if you can hear me. I can hear.
I just sent something over in the main chat, but otherwise, if you can't hear me, thank you.
So sorry. I'm so sorry.
No problem. No problem.
Here
Erik,
in Rome, the connection is pretty bad. My connection is pretty bad, so the audio doesn't arrive.
No problem. Erik just posted on the chat the question. If you have a moment, check it out. I don't know if at the same time I will also invite David if he has any comment to type it on the chat, and as well from Alexis. Maybe anybody on the team for Lisa is on the call that could reply to those questions. Just
Elisa, can you hear me? No? Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, lost it. Do we have team members that are connected?
Hi, Jesus. Hi, Erik.
Perfect.
I'm okay. I can hear you. So for Erik, I answer you on the chat, but we don't have a complementary business model for now because basically we didn't study this kind of job. You know, this is why we need to be in an incubator, because we need a new skills and more time, you know, to develop this kind of process. You know. Basically about everything about business model, because we know everything about our target, our customers, our plan, but we need more information about market target and market research. So in the meantime, in this time when we are at home, maybe we can think about it more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aleksandra. I know in Italy it's still pretty severe lockdown, so all of our guys.
Yeah, but we can think about it. That's all we can do now.
Exactly. Definitely lots of time to work on it. And this group came. Yeah, Scott, please.
No, this is David. I was going to say, Aleksandra, do you have any questions for us? Maybe there's a really burning question that you want to ask your panel, because you did a great job on the presentation.
Yeah.
However,
do you honestly think that we can do this, considering that Italy is a very large, very large country in this way, because if you are going to Rome, would you like to visit some other countryside next to Rome, or you have how many days you have, we need this kind of research. So we don't have an answer now.
Yeah, I think that's a great
place
to start.
But we are very enthusiastic about this. We want to match our love for our country and the super good food and offer to our, visitors.
Yeah, I would just suggest consider potential trends in tourism that might happen after coronavirus, and see how you can use this chaos as an opportunity to kind of reset, reevaluate, and think about where the industry and tourism in Italy will be in 6, 12, 18, 24 months. And
this will very hard. Yeah.
But I think where, everyone, it's an age-old saying, where there's chaos, there's opportunity. So I would just challenge you in this period of your business to, before you launch, use this as a how are things going to change moment, and think about where you want to be in, 12 to 18, 24 months.
We have to think in a future. Yeah, right. Thank you.
Well, yeah, what is happening in Italy, it's very inspiring right now. So I guess you guys could just consolidate.
Yeah, we need the new
inspiration into.
Yeah, thank you.
One thing that I had in mind. So, I mean, you talked about bootstrapping, right? Bootstrapping, I think, is a very cool way to test, those assumptions. How do you target your customers? How much does it cost? Can you actually deliver value without building the tech, right? And then this platform, it keeps popping in my mind, like the situation today. You gotta see this as an opportunity, right? Sometimes it's difficult, I know, but you gotta think out of the box. People now are struggling so much. People need hope. People need to look ahead. So my assumption here, right? Don't hit me because of that, but would it be
and you're coming in Italy. I need your thoughts.
So would it be possible to actually go to some vendors, some places out there and say, hey, would you have an offer that you could give current customers today, right? Like a very attractive offer where you can say, hey, this is a post-coronavirus kind of situation. I will give you a big discount if you pay today for in 6 months, hopefully when this is over. That way they can still get a bit of revenue, and then hopefully the people will still want to participate. In the best case, they will actually be able to profit or make of that offer. In the worst case, they will lose their money, but they are helping actual business out there.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think we can do it because what are we talking about is not exactly Rome. It's a very large part next to Rome in a countryside, and not only for foreign customers, but even in Italy, Italian customers, maybe after coronavirus, they need to go outside, keep in touch with nature, with very genuine food. It be great, but definitely. So yeah, it will be hard, but maybe we can do it.
Thanks a lot, David, Aleksandra. And unfortunately, Elisa still have some issues with internet, so she cannot intervene in the conversation. But I want to make sure that Scott also has an opportunity.
Just briefly, I know that Italy, maybe more than any other country, has a very organized effort around entrepreneurship and tourism. I imagine they're going to give you a lot of insights on the other side of this, of how to activate that. And the other thing I think that they didn't get a chance to mention is that much of the travel in Italy, tourism, is with native Italians going to different regions, which is also presents them an opportunity, which is going to be a little easier maybe than the international tourism.
Yeah, Scott, we are reading on, on social Instagram, and everybody is thinking about summer and going to, vacation and basically staying in Italy and see other regions. So you're right. Basically,
So,
we are staying in Italy this year, but from maybe 6 or 12 months, you can come and visit us. It will be safe.
I'll come. And in the same vein of what Alexis was saying, is perhaps those offers could be focused on, let's say, native travel, so domestic travel. Cool.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually hope to come back and see my families and friends in my hometown before 12 months, Aleksandra. And I think, thanks again, Aleksandra, Elisa, unfortunately.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Scott and everybody on the investor panel, Erik, Alexis, and David. We went over the 5 startups presenting. It was very exciting for me to run this first live streaming. I hope you guys here in the board, in the panel, and the startups and all our participants in the call had fun also participating and creating this one together. I just want to say a few words about our partners. We've been working with these with our programs. We have our programs. There are especially the programs that that we just concluded. It was a 12 weeks program. It was our 11th cohort, the winter one from January until the end of March today. And we concluding it with this speech day. And we had partners that were supporting us in different ways. For example, we've been working since last year with Home Albanese, which is the largest business law firm in California, and they've been providing in-house advising and office hours and seminars to our participants. We also work with Black Duck Venture Partners, local VC venture capital group here in Los Angeles and in California, and they're offering some meetings with pitch practice where we actually open up our space to everybody that has a startup and wants looking for investments. We have also a bunch of very interesting perks. We call it deal books in our offerings for our participants. So even this is also a reminder for the participants that didn't take advantage of our partnerships with Segment, with Stripe, with I'm browsing on our website with AWS, with Airtable, Integromat, and SEMrush. So if you put together all of these deals, we reach $1 million. So it's a great value that we're offering to our participants. So thanks again to everybody. I thank you again, all of our participants in the call and all of you on Facebook that have been watching since the beginning. And there were lots of commenting over there. Hanad, thank you, Hanad, also for checking our Facebook page, and Marta from Italy also working with us on the social media. And I hope I'm not forgetting anyone. So thanks again. We're closing our live stream right now. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.